ATS Motorsport is your one-stop racing parts and accessories store. Pop in to check out the new range of Stilo helmets, and for all other racing needs.
And just like that, we are back for 2025. We are, of course, bringing you the Lotus Challenge action all throughout the year, but for today, we are at Redstar Raceway, part of the 24th annual Passion for Speed event, round 2. Now, of course, there are going to be 10 rounds for the year in Lotus Challenge, but today we are focused on round 1, and we're going to see how everything shapes up. Of course, we had a fantastic season in 2024. 2025 promises to be just as good, if not better. Brought to you this year in partnership with ATS Motorsport and Dunlop Tires. We could not be more excited to get out there on the black stuff and put some rubber down, while we let the drivers get warmed up and go racing in honor of James Forbes, Lotus Challenge friend, legend and stalwart. It is, of course, a great time for us to remind you that this year in Lotus Challenge we have a slight change to the program. In fact, we will be doing 3 races this year, not our usual 2. For the first time in our history, we will be bringing you more action than ever before. So no qualifying, it is going to be just wheel-to-wheel action from start to finish. He qualified on pole based on championship from last year, getting a great start off the line, looking to cover the inside back in the pack of Class L though, on board with Tim Venn, getting a great start there. One of our most improved drivers from 2024 and looking to make his impact felt immediately in 2025. Seeing JP Nokia there running super wide through turn 1 and losing out a couple of spots in Class B, while we have Barry Dunford getting a terrible start there, unfortunately, and it looks like he's going to have to make up a lot of positions to get that back during the course of this race. On board now with Wesley Maxwell in Class L. Fantastic to have Wes back with us on a more permanent basis in Class L for 2025, and already battling at the front of the field. That's Sean Hepburn that he's trying to make a move on. Oh, and Charles Moret off the track already. That's very odd to see from Charles, an uncharacteristic mistake, possibly to do with all the cement dust that you are seeing all over the track. On board with Tinus Burtis now, just showing us how dirty the track is this early in the day. Some of the drivers struggling to find traction. We can see Nick Hodgson trying to go around the outside of Tinus and hold on to the back of Andy Fulton, who's got an absolutely flying start in his first race for 2025. Andre Duplessis on the heels of Nick Hodgson there, and it looks like Sean Hepburn on the left hand side of Tinus there as well, trying to make an impact early in this race. Tinus looking to come back at Andre Duplessis now, of course, B class on L class, and definitely a bit of a power differential there, but it looks like Tinus might have that move made as we see Nick and Andy scampering off into the distance. Wesley Maxwell now all over the back of Jean de Toy, the man, of course, famously who has the widest car in Lotus Challenge, certainly a man who knows how to defend. Oh, and there's Tim Venn also making a mistake. A fantastic start to the race for Tim, but he does throw a few positions away with that little error. Further back now with Ruan van der Walt. Fantastic to have Ruan back with us. We see from his point of view on his Garmin Catalyst the just exactly what happened with Tim. They're now on board with David Jeremy at the front end of Class B. Mackie Adlam trying to make a move on David. David going around the outside there of the last corner and making it stick, keeping his position, I should say. Mackie Adam just not quite able to slide his car up the inside of David Jeremy. Now back with Jean de Toy, getting a double slipstream there from Sean Hepburn and from Davide Favre. Oh, putting his car onto the grass, showing absolute full commitment there from Jean de Toy. And both drivers living to fight another day, but it does look like Sean Hepburn has got past Davide Favo. Great move there from Sean. Back now with David Jeremy at the top of Class B. Mackie Adlam still all over the back of him. JP Nokia there in the background. You can see these top 3 guys absolutely going at it super hard from the moment those lights went out, and not letting David Jeremy scamper away like he did with the championship last year. It's going to be super tight in Class B. Through that twisty section, though, these guys are giving it all. Oh, that looked like Jean de Toy going off as we're on with Wesley Maxwell. Jumping back with Jean, we can see exactly what happened. Wow! Getting it super wrong. I wonder if it was very slippery there or if he had a brake failure. Spinning around. Very uncharacteristic of Jean to make a mistake like that, waiting to rejoin safely. But very, very well done from Davide Favo to anticipate that move coming and see the mistake and make sure that there wasn't any contact there. That could have ended really badly. David Jeremy, though, still under massive pressure from Mackie Adlam and JP Nokia. Of course, these guys tucked nicely into the slipstream, but you can see David Jeremy out the last corner really getting incredible traction. Nick Hodgson now in the slipstream of Andy Fulton as they go down that long back straight, using that slipstream to his full advantage. Andy Fulton not fighting that one too hard, content at the moment just to tuck back into the slipstream of Nick Hodgson and use that to pull him around the track. These two, I'm sure, will be going at it absolute hammer and tongs the whole race. Now we're back on board with Wesley Maxwell in the mid-pack and looking to make an impression, get himself towards the top end of Class L, trying to go round the outside of Andre Duplessis. Both drivers, of course, past champions and absolutely know exactly what they are doing when it comes to wheel action. And Wesley making that move stick around the outside of the last corner. Ruan van der Walt now nicely in the slipstream as they come out of that last corner. Is he going to make a move on Davide Favo up the inside? Looks like he will. Up the inside of turn 1. Will he make it stick? That tight line in turn 1 does have an awful lot of grip, so I imagine that move will have stuck. Jean de Toy now making a recovery drive after his mistake and going off the track in the braking zone. Does look like he has made an overtake on Tim Venn. Tim is now going to try and slot in behind Jean and get that position back. He will not be happy with having lost out a position after such a good start and making that small mistake. So both of these drivers on a recovery drive, it must be said. And now back with David Jeremy in Class B. Look how close Mackie Adlam is to the back of that B60 Class B of Lotus Challenge. It is so close between these guys, and they are absolutely using those Dunlop tires to their fullest extent. Barry Dunford now all over the back of Ben Knights. Ben going defensive early, trying to force Barry not to be able to use that slipstream. Barry trying to go around the outside. Oh, fantastic move there from Barry Dunford, and sweeps around the outside of Ben Knights in turn 1. Brilliant move from him. David Jeremy now looks to have found his legs a little bit and starting to stretch them, but Mackie Adlam and JP Nokia are not going to be allowing him to get away if they can possibly help it. These guys just showing how technical this Redstar Raceway track is. You've really got to be on your A game. You can see that small gap starting to appear from David Jeremy. However, they will be in the slipstream when it comes to that long straight, which will help them close back up. Speaking of closing back up, we've got Ruan van der Walt now trying to attack Andre Duplessis, who in turn is trying to attack Wesley Maxwell. Fantastic scrap here for what I believe is 4th position. These guys really absolutely giving it all. Andre Duplessis now has to measure up his attack versus defense with Ruan right behind him. Once again, we've got Barry Dunford on Ben Knights. Looks like Ben has got past on the long straight again, so now Barry's going to have to try the same move again like he did on the previous lap. Halfway through race 1, we are now on lap 4, and Barry Dunford once again sweeps around the outside of Ben. Oh, looks like David Jeremy running super wide through that sweeping right-hander, and that has allowed Mackie Adlam once more to catch up and locking up there under the braking zone. You can see just how hard Mackie is pushing, and JP Nokia trying to pick up any kind of pieces that happen from any sort of contact between these two guys. JP desperate for a win here, and David Jeremy absolutely desperate to try and keep his first position. Speaking of, Andy Fulton is now trying to overtake Nick Hodgson. Down the inside he goes of that long back straight, and Nick is unlikely to fight this one too hard. You can see him taking that wider outside line, probably trying to get the cutback on board with Nick now. You can see how well that sort of cutback works, even though he has lost out the position for the moment. These guys are going to come across the start-finish line absolutely line astern. Nick jinking left and right, trying to find a way through, immediately back on Andy, and sweeps through on the inside of turn 1. We've seen Barry use the outside line to full effect, and now we see Nick using the inside line to full effect, and Nick once again gets up into first position and looks to try and scamper away from Andy, but whether or not that happens, we'll have to cut back and see Jean de Toy now on Ben Knights, trying to make a move here, trying to catch Barry Dunford as well. Nice little move there. Tim Venn has got himself into a great position, following on the coattails of Jean de Toy, using that slipstream to the fullest effect and getting himself back into the mid-pack. Jean really showing a good turn of speed here today in race 1, with Tim going, whoa, my goodness, that was incredibly aggressive from Tim. I think he missed his braking point slightly, but somehow makes it stick. Good move there from Tim in the end. Great from Ben to see it coming as well, so no contact was made. Jean de Toy there running super wide, really trying to unsettle Barry Dunford. Tim also keeping a middling line to defend against Ben Knights. You can see in the background there, these guys are just absolutely going at it, not willing to give an inch from each other. Barry Dunford into the hard braking zone. Jean de Toy just tucks in behind, still trying to unsettle Barry, just find himself an opportunity to make a move. Andy Fulton though in the slipstream once more. This is definitely turning out to be the story of Class L, the front two for race 1, where these guys are just so closely matched in pace that it's kind of turning out to be the slipstream that's making the difference. Nick Hodgson once again using that wide line to get the cutback, and will be trying to use that dive up the inside of turn 1 to once again effect an overtake on Andy Fulton. Both of these drivers, of course, are teammates for this year. The team championship is something brand new to Lotus Challenge in 2025. And again, that looks like Nick going a bit wide. We'll have to cut it back and see what happened there. But now we can see David Jeremy has pulled a bit of a gap to the chasing pack of JP Nokia and Mackie Adlam. JP though getting a great move on Mackie, but running super wide into the last corner, just outbraking himself slightly, and that is absolutely allowing David Jeremy to scamper away. But Mackie Adlam and JP Nokia having a fantastic battle there for second place. Rowan van der Walt now on board with him once more, trying to make an overtake on Andre Duplessis. You can see Wesley Maxwell just ahead has used this battle to his advantage and got himself a little bit of a gap to the chasing Rowan and Andre. But Rowan is now in the slipstream. I will imagine we are going to see an overtake here. Not too much that Andre can do. Possibly he's going to try use that cutback line. We will have to wait and see, as Rowan is forced into a narrow line, which will compromise his exit here and possibly allow Andre, the wily old fox that he is, a way through. Jean de Toy now still all over the back of Barry Dunford. These two really are going at it super hard. Oh my goodness, Jean is right on the limit of the track there. These guys just about giving each other enough room. Great racing from these two. Barry choosing to use that inside line to try and defend from Jean de Toy, but Jean just had so much overspeed coming through that long sweep, and Tim Venn is trying to capitalize once more on the slipstream of Jean de Toy, but just unable to do so. Barry Dunford sweeps across him and says, "Not today, sir. I will not be overtaken by two people in one corner." And it looks like Jean has made another uncharacteristic error, and that's allowed Barry to get right back onto the tail of Jean. And as we see, as they go through this tight little technical section and onto a sweeping left-hander that you really need to get yourself lined up for this mini straight, it's so critical to get a good exit here. And we'll have to see if an overtake is on the cards later on. But in the meantime, David Jeremy has been caught slightly by Mackie Adlam and JP Nokia, both using the slipstream to once again try and catch up to the back of our leading Class B. JP again getting past Mackie on the straight and again going in super deep, my goodness, almost running into the back of David Jeremy, just managing to keep it together. These guys really are showing how hard they are pushing these Dunlop tires to the absolute limit. Andy Fulton again looking for an overtake on Nick Hodgson on this long straight. These two just cannot decide who is the quicker driver for the first race of 2025. Nick Hodgson again employing the cutback technique. We will have to see how this turns out for the end of the race, but Nick really pressuring Andy now all over the back of him. Andy wise to the cutback now and has gone on the inside trying to use that line, but Nick Hodgson maybe taking a leaf out of Barry Dunford's book, sweeps around the outside, getting very squirrely through turn one. Definitely a bit less grip on that outside line, but has allowed him to get into first position. Will he now be able to convert that? Again, it's very squirrely through this little right-hander, but hang on, that's Nick has gone off into the grass. What has happened there? That's a very odd place to have gone off. I'm not sure what's happened. We'll have to cut back later, but it has given Andy the lead for the moment. And as we are speaking, we've got this battle continuing once more. JP Nokia defending for all he is worth against Mackie Adlam, and you can see Jeff Gable in the background coming to join this incredible Class B battle. Wesley Maxwell, however, is looking to effect an overtake on Tinus Bortus and go and attack Sean Hepburn just a bit further ahead. This is, of course, for the final podium position in Class L. What do we see now, though? Sean Hepburn has just absolutely sailed past Nick Hodgson, so there must be some sort of a problem with Nick's car here. And as I say that, I can see there's a missing gear lever. You just see the rubber surround on rather than an actual gear lever sticking out of the middle of that Class L car. So Nick must be stuck in gear or struggling to change gear. Something is definitely wrong there. You are unlikely to be able to race effectively without a gear lever. That much I can tell you for sure. Getting very squirrely through the last time we go through this long sweep. And Nick goes for a gear change. Whether or not he hits it, you'll have to see. But that's Class B coming across the line. You can see just how close the battle is. Speaking of, 3 wide, we're going to be going into the last corner. That's Sean Hepburn, Nick Hodgson, and Wesley Maxwell fighting for the last couple of podium positions. Nick going extremely wide and losing out 2 positions right at the last gasp of this race. But that's it. Andy Fulton coming across the line there to take the win, and followed by an absolute gaggle of Class L cars. The racing today in Heat 1 of 3 has been absolutely fantastic. But let's take a look at our standings for Heat 1 of the day. In Class B, we have David Jeremy coming in, taking his maiden victory for 2025, followed very, very closely by JP Nokia and Mackie Adlam. In Class L, we have Andrew Fulton coming home for the victory, followed by Sean Hepburn and Wesley Maxwell taking advantage of the problems that Nick Hodgson was experiencing. But for now, let's hear from the drivers.
Yeah, so that was really great. It was super competitive as usual. Nick's on it, so yeah, just found my feet. We had a good tow from 1 or 2 Class B cars, so that gave us a little bit of a head start, and we just managed to nurse it and keep it there. But unfortunately, I think Nick had an issue with the gearbox lever, or select the lever on the last lap or so, but that gave...
Yeah. Turns out you need a gear lever to change gears.
Nick, that was a close race, dude.
Yeah, right into the end. Andy and myself had a great dice. Andy, as usual, got off the line really well. And then, we were just swapping positions. I think I had a little bit more overall pace than him, but he was obviously using the slipstream really nicely. And then going into the last lap, after I'd just overtaken him again, I think, I then went through that very tight right-hander and went for a gear change, and my gear lever just fell off, so it snapped. So I headed off the track because you know, can't change gear. But then I found I was able to get it into gear and then like go third and fourth. But yeah, it wasn't the ideal start. But we'll see how we go for race 2.
David, first race of the season, race 1 win.
Yeah, no, very good. A good start. It's the new format, so we've got 3 races now, no quali. A bit cold, early in the morning, the tyres are a bit cold. But Mackie and JP kept me very honest, and it was a good little dice between the 3 of us. So I think it could have been a different story if I maybe only had one of them behind me. But no, it was good. Wait for the next one.
So with a few repairs to be done in between races, we will see how these guys get on in race 2 in just a moment. But lots of tinkering going on. Of course, the second race is going to be happening midday, and I tell you what, the temperature is going to be absolutely scorching now. We'll have to see what kind of setup changes these guys have made in order to combat the absolute scorching heat that they will be experiencing. All the drivers suffering quite heavily now. It's going to be a real test of endurance and concentration when we see the lights go out for race 2 of 3 for the day. Waiting for those lights now, watching Class B, Jeff Gable on pole, off we go, that's it, drop the clutch and everybody looks to be away nice and smoothly. I don't see too many fast starters. Everyone seems to have got a pretty good start. JP Nokia trying to go around the outside of David Jeremy now into turn 1. David very much well aware of that and taking the inside line and using it to fullest effect. Barry Dunford now in the mid-pack of Class L, really closing up through turn 1. Good confidence on those brakes so early on in the race from Barry Dunford, given that these guys will have cold tyres and cold brakes. Andre Duplessis now once again resuming his battle with Ruan van der Walt. This was one of the highlights of race 1 for sure. Andy Fulton now trying to catch up to Sean Hepburn, but running slightly wide through this long left-hand sweep, and that's allowed Wesley Maxwell to sweep through on the inside, take that position from Andy, but Andy's got a much better exit, looking to possibly try and make an overtake, but backing out of it at this early stage in the race just to make sure that no mistake is made and stick on the back of these lead 2. Looks like Ben Knight's now putting a move on Barry Dunford. Great little move there from Ben. Both Barry and Ben, as you'll remember, had a Teutonic battle in race 1. Ben getting very squirrely on the exit there. That could allow Barry back through. But in the top end of Class B, David Jeremy is now all over the back of pole sitter Jeff Gable. Jeff, of course, remember, doing extremely well at Kyalami at the end of last year and looking to capitalize on that success and bring it into 2025, and so far doing extremely well, getting some great lap times in is Jeff Gable, with Mackie Adlam all over the back of David Jeremy as well, and JP Norkier bringing up that top 4. This podium in Class B is once again going to be a absolutely hotly contested affair, if not quite as hot as the temperature is right now on track. I can tell you what, these cars are going to be needing a little bit of cool air going into their radiators. Oh my goodness, as we see Mackie Adlam getting so close to the back of Jeff Gable there, and going to be trying to use the slipstream now, looking to tuck in behind David Jeremy. There's just no way through, trying to find his way through. 3 wide does work if the guys are willing to give the space, but at the moment absolutely not having it. David Jeremy trying to make his presence known and takes the lead of the Class B battle in race 2, with Jeff Gable now trying desperately not to lose out to Mackie Adlam, who tries to sneak through on the inside of this last corner and does so extremely effectively. Jeff Gable now down into 3rd from 1 corner. You can just see how close the racing here is in the ATS Motorsport Dunlop Tires Lotus Challenge for 2025. It's absolutely fantastic racing. Speaking of fantastic racing, Andy Fulton making full use of that slipstream, and as Sean Hepburn and Wesley Maxwell battle it out for the lead of Class L. Sean Hepburn just coming out on top there, as Wesley not quite able to make that outside line through the last corner work out for him. Andy Fulton once again just tucks in behind there and looks for a mistake. Oh my goodness, Nick Hodgson running very wide again. That's Sean Hepburn, I believe, that he was trying to defend against, and it didn't quite work out for him. Ruan van der Walt, though, has made that move on Andre Duplessis' stick and is now looking to join the front-running pack in Class L, using that slipstream to his absolute fullest. You can see just how much Nick Hodgson is struggling with understeer at the moment. Clearly something is still not quite right in that L1 car, and either he's made a mistake on the setup, or he's just not quite comfortable in the car at the moment. Whatever it is, you can see that L1 really squirming around like we're not used to seeing it. So we'll have to see what kind of result Nick can eke out of race 2. Barry Dunford, in the meanwhile, once again is battling with Ben Knight. These two just cannot decide who's going to come home ahead of one another, just trying to jinx left and right, really unsettle Ben. But Ben is a absolute stalwart of the Lotus Challenge and knows all these little tips and tricks. But Barry Dunford sliding up the inside. Clearly Ben didn't know about that little tip, and Barry makes that move stick. Fantastic little feint there from Barry, and gets a position. We'll have to see if he can stick it out. Is that JP Norkier going extremely slowly? Looks like it, as Andre and Jean both absolutely blitz past him, and these two, of course, having their own battle. Got no time to be thinking what's going on with JP Norkier, but it does look like we've lost one of our front-running Bs, and Andy Fulton trying to use that sort of outside line, that flick-back line, and close up on the back of Wesley and Sean, who are absolutely battling hammer and tongs. But you can see somebody behind Andy is also all over the back of him. I tell you what, this Class L win is going to be anybody's guess right now. Oh, Jean de Toy throwing up some dirt into the face of Andre Duplessis. He'll be unhappy about that, I'm sure. But Jean going very defensive early, knows the kind of tricks that Andre Duplessis likes to pull to affect overtakes. But Jean de Toy is possibly the best defensive driver in the field, and showing just why at the moment, really taking that defensive line to heart and making sure that Andre Duplessis has absolutely nowhere to go. But you can see how close the battle in Class L is. You can see the top 4 just ahead of us. Nick Hodgson now looking to use that slipstream from Sean Hepburn, and Wesley Maxwell ahead, allowing him to close back up, even though he is struggling with his car. I said there was some understeer, looked like some oversteer through that corner. So just all over the place at the moment is this L1, but is still managing to hang on to the front-running pack. Andy Fulton ahead in provisional first at the moment, using a Class B to give him a little bit of a slipstream as well and keep this chasing pack off his backside. David Jeremy has now managed to pull a little bit of a gap, you can see, on the chasing pack, possibly thanks to JP Norkier pulling out, but you can see that is definitely Jeff Gable and Mackie Adlam going absolutely hard at it, trying to make sure that they are able to cement their place on the podium, but then also hopefully take the battle to David later on in the back with Ron van der Walt now, and you can see just up ahead 3 cars going at it, trying to make an overtake on each other. That is, of course, Wesley Maxwell, Sean Hepburn, and Nick Hodgson, almost 3 wide through this last little sweeping jink of the Redstar Raceway clockwise layout. No one quite able to make a move just yet. All of the squabbling has kept Ron very much in the hunt, and is looking to have a brilliant result for his return to Lotus Challenge Racing. You can see Nick Hodgson squeezing Wesley Maxwell as much as he possibly can through turn 1, and trying to go round the outside now. Unlikely to pan out, definitely slightly slippier around there. It will bring Rowan straight into this battle, but Nick does have the narrow line through that hairpin and should live to see another day and attack again another day. Rowan trying to unsettle Nick now, but having none of it at the moment in that L1 is Nick Hodgson. So We then resume hostilities. Nick getting very squirrely coming out of this sweeping left-hander. Definitely struggling in that car right now. The heat must be getting to him. And Rowan, once again, looking to capitalize in the slipstream, pulls out a little earlier, and Nick just giving room on the outside in case of a dive bomb, but absolutely not happening that time around. Nick is now all over the back of Andy Fulton. Andy, of course, having lost the slipstream from that Class B ahead of him, has now fallen back into the clutches of the fast-charging Wesley Maxwell and Sean Hepburn. So now we have a four-way battle for the lead, five-way with Rowan now getting involved. This is incredibly close racing in the ATS Motorsport Dunlop Tires Lotus Challenge 2025 season. Can you believe it? It is only round one, and this is how hard the guys are fighting. Can you imagine what the rest of the year is got in store for us? It is going to be absolutely fantastic if this type of action is anything to go off of. But at the moment, Sean Hepburn doing a phenomenal job of keeping this chasing pack behind him. Everybody absolutely keen as anything to get ahead and try and take their maiden victory for 2025. Rowan van der Walt now pulling out of the slipstream, going up the inside. Oh, Andy Fulton very, very hard on the brakes there, and that has allowed Rowan to go up the inside of Nick Hodgson. Nick then coming back, getting a better exit from that tight left-hander, and once again just about able to keep the hard charging Rowan van der Walt behind him. And it has allowed, however, Andy Fulton, Wesley Maxwell and Sean Hepburn to scamper away somewhat again through these sweeping corners. You can see just how much Nick Hodgson is struggling to keep himself in this battle. I mean, luckily he will get the slipstream down this long straight, but so will Rowan. And will he be able to effect an overtake here? We will have to watch and find out. But on board now with Jeff Gable, currently in third position in Class B, all over the back of Mackie Adlam. Once more, you can see just how hard Mackie is pushing, dipping his tires into the dirt, into the dust, and throwing it all over the back of that Class B car. But it is to no avail. David Jeremy coming home in first position, closely followed by Mackie and Jeff. Rowan van der Walt now, the last corner for Class L. Who is going to take this? Will Sean be able to just about manage a victory here in heat 2 of the day of round 1? Looks like it. Sean just comes home ahead of Wesley Maxwell, but let's have a look at the official results. In Class B, we have David Jeremy taking his second win for the day, closely followed by Mackie Adlam and Jeff Gable, with unfortunately JP Nokia having a DNF. In Class L, Sean Hepburn, Wesley Maxwell and Andy Fulton make up our podium, with Nick Hodgson, Rowan van der Walt and Jean de Toy following on extremely close behind.
ITS Motorsport supplies the Lotus Challenge with Dunlop Dureza 03G tires. We have been racing on Dunlop for a few years now. Need boots, gloves, how about a suit or helmet? ATS has it all. Performance parts to get you on the top step of the podium. Visit our store in Centurion for the best racing advice.
So now let's have a listen from the drivers and see what they made of race 2.
Listen, it's been a great weekend so far. Arrived in the morning, hadn't been in the car except to load it on a trailer so far this year. So the first race was a little bit of learning by doing. Race 2, I was on pole and managed to keep that position, I think, for just about a lap. So that's not too bad. And then it was Jeremy, Adlam and myself. Jeremy was just a little bit on us up front. Mackie and myself keeping each other honest. So good race. Extremely hot out there. Really, really, really toasty.
Well done on race 2 win.
Yeah, thanks, man.
It was close, eh? Tell us a bit more about it.
Yeah, so started in 4th. The start was pretty normal. Got behind Nick and stayed there for a lap or 2. Then I got past him and then started chasing Wesley. And then I just Wesley passed Andy, no. I passed Wesley and then I passed Andy, and then for about the last 3 or 4 laps it was chaos. But you can only race like that if you're racing with somebody that's not going to take you out. So much respect to Wesley. He didn't take me out. So, yeah.
It was extremely hot out there, loads of fun. Yeah, blessed to be out there again. Awesome, but very, very hot, and good, close, tight racing again. So yeah. I was all over the place. I missed 1 or 2 gear changes, and then that's it. Then suddenly I saw this whole line of cars. So yeah, really, really nice to see the guys are right up there now. So this is not a one horse race anymore, eh? By no means.
That's 6 across the line. I reckon when we look at the timing sheets, it's going to be like a second between us. It was absolutely intense. Great battle, really great battle. Just wasn't feeling it right now. The car wasn't handling like I'm used to. Well, not exactly like I'm used to. So yeah, dropped back a little bit, but amazing dice. Can't take anything away from Wes and Sean. They brought it this race. So yeah, well done to them.
Yeah, no, it was a good race. We had a good start. There was 4 of us. Jeff was in the mix this time. He had a problem with his brakes in the first race. But I think going down the straight, it was 2.5 of us side by side. Mackie was trying to get alongside me, but I got alongside, took the lead, and then just sort of controlled it a bit. It was nice, but it was hot out there. The brakes were...
And as promised, we will be bringing you 3 races today, but these drivers are going to make the last few tweaks, and obviously we'll have learned from what happened in race 2, make any setup tweaks while we are later in the day, around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It is still absolutely scorching hot out here in Delmas, but we are keen as anything to get these lights out, and away we go. Tinus Bortus on board now for the start of the 3rd and final race for the day. We jump back to Jean de Toy, who had a tumultuous race 2, but in race 3 now got off to a great start and slotted in behind Rohan van der Walt. We can see Andre Duplessis trying to go around the outside, and Davide Favo going up the inside. It's very, very unlike Jean to have a double overtake on him in one corner. That was incredible stuff. Both Andre and Davide getting on with it early in this race. Absolutely switched on from lights out. JP Norkier now looking to get back to the top of Class B after that unfortunate DNF in race 1, and already looking to be on the back of Mackie Adlam and Jeff Gable as David Jeremy looks to try and get a 3rd victory for the day. Looks like Jeff is once again on pole for Class B, really setting some stellar lap times as Jeff Gable. David Jeremy getting so close to the back of B99, almost making another dent in the rear of that Lotus Challenge Class B car. Nick Hodgson now defending from teammate Andy Fulton, just manages to fend him off, and looks to try and charge down the road and once again resume battle with Wesley Maxwell and Sean Hepburn. Speaking of resuming battle, Jean de Toy now again on Davide Favo. Davide and Andre, of course, squeaking past Jean on the start. Jean absolutely having none of it and trying to get those positions back as quickly as possible. Rohan van der Walt employing those defensive strategies early on in the race, but Andre Duplessis keeping his car extremely tight through these twisty sections, and it looks like Davide Favo may have squeaked through. An opportunistic move there from Davide, fantastic little move, and making the most of a rocket ship of a start, and all over the back of Rohan van der Walt now. Andre Duplessis going to have to tuck in behind here to try and get the slipstream, but of course Jean de Toy will be in close quarters to Andre. Andre had been complaining about a lot of understeer throughout the whole day. Whether or not he's fixed it in race 3, we will have to see. Oh my goodness, David Jeremy and Jeff Gable almost bashing wheels there. But David, once again, in almost a carbon copy of race 2, takes the lead at the end of lap 1. Andre Duplessis now behind Rohan van der Walt. Davide Favo on the outside. Who's going to come out in front there? Barry Dunford, though, all over the back of Jean de Toy. Jean possibly not quite finding his pace at the moment at the beginning of race 3. And Barry Dunford is going to slide all the way through. But Jean de Toy up the inside comes for the cutback and keeps that position. Slides up on the back of Andre Duplessis. Duplessis as well, as Andre tries to go around the outside of Rowan van der Walt. Davide Favo getting ahead, but Andre is now in the slipstream. Is he going to make a double overtake? No, not quite this time. Thinks better of it through turn 1 as we go into lap 2 of this last race of the day. Those Dunlop tyres working their absolute hearts out from the get-go, and we've got David Jeremy now all with Jeff Gable all over the back of him. Great to see these two battling. Jeff really finding his feet throughout the course of the day and putting a huge amount of pressure on David Jeremy, but it is allowing Mackie Adlam and JP Nokia into this battle. Jeff just going a little bit wide, pushed a little bit wide out there, and you can see him battling the steering wheel, very slippery out there, and that allows Mackie Adlam through and allows David Jeremy just to scamper away a little bit. David, of course, will be trying desperately to break that slipstream and allow him a bit of breathing space in these hot and hectic conditions. Looks like Jeff Gable is back past Mackie Adlam, though. We'll cut back to that battle later. In the meantime, Nick Hodgson is all over the back of Sean Hepburn and Wesley Maxwell. These two really have been some outstanding performers throughout this whole day, showing some incredible pace. And Wesley Maxwell now squeaks through for the lead of Class L provisionally. We can see Andy Fulton just in the background. This top 4 has definitely broken away from the chasing Class L pack. And in race 2 we saw 6 cars within less than 2 seconds of each other as they crossed the start-finish line after 20 minutes of hard racing. And we'll have to see how we pan out here, but it does look like that top 4 has broken away. The chasing pack now, we have Jean de Toy really trying to get in amongst the action here as Rohan, Andre and Davide squabble for 5th position. You can see just how close the racing here in Lotus Challenge and in Class L is up and down the field. You really will experience some incredible wheel-to-wheel action no matter where you find yourself on the track. Oh my goodness, Rohan just tucking in so close behind Andre there, but that narrow line has given him a poor exit and it has allowed Jean de Toy to get alongside. Whether he can make it round the outside here, I doubt it. There's not going to be too much grip. Is he looking for the cutback though? Is he going to go on the inside of Rohan through this long sweeping left-hander? Not quite, but he will tuck in to that slipstream on this mini straight and possibly try and dive up the inside. We have seen Jean de Toy do that on a number of occasions, but Rohan, wise to that move, despite being out racing for a little while, has absolutely lost none of his racecraft, it seems, and goes up the inside. But again, we see that outside exit of this tight hairpin once again giving incredibly good traction, and I imagine Jean will have that position made. David Jeremy now definitely breaking away from the pack. You can see that we've got Jeff and Mackie and JP all almost line astern there, but it does look like it's Mackie Adlam coming up in 2nd position at the moment. Those guys really going at it super hard, but it is allowing David Jeremy just to inch by inch break away. Looks like Davide Fava got a horrendous exit through that long sweep, and Andre Duplessis is absolutely just able to blast past. Doesn't even need the slipstream in this case, but Andre sticking his car in the middle of the road, ensuring that Davide has to think long and hard about his next move. Andre through now for what I believe is a net 5th position in Class L. Again, we can see that squabbling pack of bees behind David Jeremy, just dipping his wheel into the dust there, trying to make that corner as narrow as he possibly can and get a good exit. Nick Hodgson now at the front of Class L, trying to get that 1st position, that 1st win for the year for Nick is what he's desperately after, and going up the inside of Sean Hepburn, just trying to unsettle him because Sean will have the inside line for the next corner, so unlikely that move will stick. Jean de Toy trying to make this stick on Davide Favo. He's going to go up the inside here, which will give him the position briefly, but whether or not he will have the inside line for the next corner is another thing. We'll have to cut back to that battle just now, because Nick Hodgson is now all over the back of Sean Hepburn, and he's definitely, his moves seem to be unsettling Sean slightly and just allowing Wes a little bit of a gap. Possibly this is a tactic from Nick to try and get Sean out the slipstream of Wesley, but look at that incredible exit Sean has got through this fast, long left-hander sweep. Absolutely leaving Nick for dust there, but later on in the lap you can see just how close Andy Fulton is behind Nick. Nick pulling out of the slipstream very early there on Sean, desperately trying to find that slipstream from Wesley Maxwell ahead. That's why you can see these guys running so close to one another. And up the inside now, Nick braking much earlier than Sean. Sean running around the outside, and that forces Nick to have to back out slightly and think again for an overtake, jumping back into the slipstream. Will he try and go up the inside? We have seen this before, but it looks like he's coming from very far back. Super late on the brakes is Nick, but he manages to keep control of that car and ensure that there is no contact made between these two drivers. Sweeping to the outside, sweeping to the inside, looking for any kind of mistake or opportunity for him to affect an overtake on Sean Hepburn, who of course has a huge amount of experience in all sorts of in all forms of racing. So it's unlikely he's going to unsettle Sean, but he's trying everything he possibly can. Jean de Toy now trying to go around the outside of Andre Duplessis. Look how close these guys are running. They're almost banging wheels on the exit there, but Andre Duplessis just seems to manage to hold off Jean de Toy, who has to tuck in to this narrow, tight and twisty section. Andre going very defensive through that tight left-hander, and it has unsettled John slightly, who has to back out of the move, and you can see a small gap has suddenly appeared, but John still always thinking about the attack and taking that inside narrow line early just to try and unsettle Andre. Oh, and goes very deep in this sweeping left-hander. Andre all over the place trying to battle that car. I don't know that he's solved his understeer problems just yet, and it's certainly keeping Jean in the hunt. In the hunt now is Nick Hodgson using a double slipstream and for a double overtake on Wesley and Sean, looking to go from third to first round the outside of this last corner, squeezing Wesley as much as he possibly can without causing contact, and scampers away into first position. Sean Hepburn manages to hang on to second, and oh my goodness, we've got Jean de Toy off into the grass. What is going on there? That is the fast sweep. He got a little bit too close to Andre, maybe outbraked himself or something, but very, very strange to see a few mistakes from Jean today, and all his hard work means that everyone has scampered through. I believe that Charles Marais ahead of him now. He's going to have a hard battle back, and Sean Hepburn has battled his way back through Nick Hodgson, taking first position provisionally right now in Class L as we go through this tight, twisty section of the Redstar Raceway layout, the clockwise layout, of course, and Nick is going to be thinking about using that slipstream to get his position back, get that provisional lead back. Oh, and we see Jean again spinning around, something not right there in that L77, and Tim and Ben flying through there, and John really is at the back of the Class L pack now and going to have to try and work his way back through, even though I'm sure his tires are very definitely cooked after two spins there. Nick Hodgson now pulling out of the slipstream quite early on Sean, but definitely seems to have the overspeed on him already. Look how close these two guys are, almost banging wheels. We've seen it a number of times this race, but just able to hang on, taking that narrower line this time. We saw him using the cutback line in race 1 with Andy Fulton, but not employing it at the moment, and already going for a super narrow line into turn 1, desperately trying to not give these guys much slipstream, almost try and deal the slipstream out a little bit to Wes, then a little bit to Sean, and keep that first position rolling for him as we go on to lap 6, lap 7 for this final race of the day. Just 2 laps to go. Tim Venn now all over the back of Ben Knights. Oh my goodness, they're close. Oh, and Jean is off again. I wonder if he was distracted by the two ahead of him, but that, again, extremely, extremely strange to see Jean off the track so much in this race. Not sure what is going on there, but I'm sure Jean will be absolutely furious with himself. And oh, there is a clash of wheels between Nick and Sean. What has happened there? Into the braking zone. absolutely wheel-to-wheel contact there. So luckily, it looks like both drivers will be able to continue, but Sean is off into the gravel. It's allowed Wesley Maxwell to come back into the action. This, of course, is going to be the last lap of the race. Nick taking that narrow line through turn 1. Wesley Maxwell has to back out of it. Will Nick be able to hang on to this victory for his first win of the season? We'll have to wait and see. Wesley Maxwell is now all over the back of Nick as we go down this final straight, this final long straight of Redstar Raceway clockwise and into the braking zone. Nick is definitely behind Wes, but brave through that inside line. Wesley running wide and onto the grass, onto the gravel, gives him a poor exit, and it looks like Nick is just going to be able to hold on for the win in Class L. Comes over the start-finish line. You can see the jubilation, and it looks like it's going to be the win for Nick, but it is absolutely not done yet. Andre and Rohan still battling hard. Andre taking that narrow line. We saw it work for Nick, and it looks like it's going to work for Andre. Rohan just having to slot in behind Andre, and they're going to come across the line. Andre rowing the boat across the start-finish line, and that is a phenomenal battle between those two drivers. Let's now take a look at our final results for the day in the ATS Motorsport Dunlop Tires Lotus Challenge. That is our race 3 results. We have David Jeremy completing a hat-trick of victories for the day, with JP Nokia, a much stronger showing from him in race 3, and Mackie Adlam making up the podium, while in Class L we have Nick Hodgson, Wesley Maxwell and Andy Fulton making up our podium, and Sean Hepburn coming home in 4th position.
Race 1 of the season done, 3 races for the day. How did it go?
Yeah, I must think the new format is much better. It gives a lot of racing time. And yeah, compliments and congratulations to Jeremy, taking 3 in a row, and I think between ourselves, Gable and JP, it was nothing, so it's lekker.
It was like a close racing up front there.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, man.
Cool, thanks, Maggie. Race 1 of the season, race 3 done. Congrats. Sean, that was a close one for you.
Oh, it was tough. Starting in pole, I got going, and then Wesley came past me, and then this started to harass me, and then it just became a bun fight. Andy joined in the party, and we were just swapping positions. I think I might have got the lead about 3 times. I can't remember.
We lost count.
But yeah, it was just out-braking each other. A couple of very close moments. I went into the back of Nick on the straight, and then second last lap coming down the straight, we were trying to outdo each other. My car, the right front locked, and I hit him, bounced off, and that was game over.
Yeah, I think Andy was overheating slightly, sitting behind 3 cars like that, because it is really hot out there. Yes, we were baking, but yeah, so I think that's what he was trying to do, is to capitalize on anyone's mistakes. But yeah, we were going at it absolutely hammer and tongs the whole time. There's no quarter given or asked, but proper fair racing as well. Proper wheel-to-wheel stuff.
The first 3 race format for Lotus Challenge. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I think everybody else enjoyed it thoroughly. It made it a bit different in the morning, especially because we got an early start. So yeah, I think Lotus Challenge is looking up. We got nice sponsors on board now with Dunlop and AT. Say, listen, you've been the best driver overall on average for the year. Tim, goes to you.
So that's it. That's us. 3 races for the day. Can you believe the action that we have seen? It has been absolutely phenomenal from start to finish. We will be back for round 2 here at Redstar Raceway in a month's time. So look out for that. The action is going to be fast and frantic once more, and we look forward to seeing you there.
A video sponsor is needed for the remainder of the Lotus Challenge season. Get in touch to partner with the Lotus Challenge.
Like, subscribe, and share ARC Media.
TLR, your home for Chapman-inspired cars.